वहाँ पे इंडियन की फायरिंग से सिविलियन बहुत मुतासर हो रहे हैं, और उन सिविलियन के मुतासर होने की वजह से हमारी तमाम प्रॉपर्टी, तमाम हर एवरीथिंग इज लॉस्ट देयर ऑन दैट साइड. और
Civilians are being affected by the Indian firing on line of control, or properties are being damaged and civilians are being killed.
और इरादतन जब भी उसकी ये फायरिंग होती है और सिविल पॉपुलेशन के ऊपर होती है, कंट्रोल लाइन के ऊपर, हर आदमी जो है वो बहुत मुतासर है. और ऐसी सूरत में हम ये चाहते हैं कि आपका बड़ा रोल है और आपका ये प्रॉपर टाइम है कि इंडिया को इस बात पर लाया जाए कि इंडिया जिस इशू के ऊपर खुद गया था UN में के अंदर, इस मसले को हल किया जाए, और आज उसी की खिलाफ वर्जी की जा रही है, जो मैं समझता हूँ ये अच्छी लाइन नहीं. और वेयर एज के उसने उस वक्त रेजोल्यूशन के एक हिस्से के ऊपर तो अमल हो रहा है कि सीज फायर लाइन भी हो गई, जो रेजोल्यूशन पास हुआ सीज फायर लाइन उसके ऊपर कायम है. लेकिन उसका वो जो दूसरा हिस्सा है जिसके ऊपर डीमिलिटराइजेशन का सिस्टम था, और हमारी जो राइट ऑफ सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन मिलना था, जिसके रेजोल्यूशन यहाँ से पास हुई थी, उसको अभी तक उसके ऊपर अमल नहीं हो रहा है. और ये हम समझते हैं कि बड़ा प्रॉपर टाइम है कि आप इसके ऊपर हमारी हेल्प करें ताकि ये मामला वहाँ पे हल हो सके.
The population has always been affected by the direct firing, and India took this issue to the United Nations Security Council, and that gives us the right of self-determination, but it never happened. And we demand United Nations to play a role so that our basic rights and the United Nations resolutions could be implemented.
Thank you.
May I ask you a question? Can United Nations play a role on the Kashmir issue? This is a question actually. You have to answer later.
Well, you might be familiar that the concentration of Indian troops in occupied Kashmir is highest in the world, if you say that. More than 5 lakh paramilitary troops there. In a small area.
कश्मीर में जो कुछ हो रहा है उसके बारे में आप
And I think there's a lot of human rights violation going on.
More than 1 lakh people have been died. 100,000 people have been died.
The main point is nothing is going on internationally. We're talking about. People are suffering. So we all hope and expect that UN should come forward and play some role in it. Especially the tension also escalates between India and Pakistan due to Kashmir. So you have to touch Kashmir. You can't put it on a sideline and you expect that the relations between India and Pakistan are going to move forward. So this is a hard fact.
कश्मीर में बहुत मुस्तकबिल करीब में एक टेंशन क्रिएट होगी और जिसकी बोन ऑफ कंडक्शन कश्मीर बनेगी. यूएन को रोल अदा करना चाहिए इसलिए कि ये तनाज़ा जिससे इंडो पाक फ्यूचर में बड़े डिजास्टर की तरफ है.
It's saying that in very near future there will be a big disaster in subcontinent, and the main reason would be the Jammu and Kashmir. So we demand United Nations to play a positive role to give us our rights. Javed sahab, aap kuch keh rahe the in your constituency?
I mean, if there are not any other questions or comments, or maybe anyway afterwards, I guess Just maybe I'll start and maybe you can jump in afterwards. Specifically on the military observers, you raised this issue. So as you know, the military observers are deployed on both sides of the line of control. The mandate that they have dates back from 1951. They were deployed in 49 first as part of this United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan. And they became more or less autonomous in 51 when the commission stopped working or was terminated by the Security Council. And they have a mandate that is pretty clear and that is pretty simple, and you can find it in the resolution of the Security Council. It's on one line. It's like to supervise the ceasefire. And these military observers have a link directly with the Karachi Agreement, which was to report to both parties with respect to ceasefire violations. So both parties have the possibility, the opportunity to reach out to the military observers and to submit complaints directly to the military observers. And then the military observers will conduct an investigations into the alleged ceasefire violation complaints and will submit their findings, conclusions to both parties, the Secretary General here and both parties. So that's the system that has been in place now since the Karachi Agreement. They continue to do that, and that's what they do. Pakistan submits alleged ceasefire violation complaints, they conduct investigations, and they submit the findings to both parties. As you probably know better than me, and you raised it, India has taken a different position with respect to UNMOGIP and to the mechanisms that are in place, especially since 1972 and since the Simla Agreement. From this time, India's position has been that the mandate of the mission has lapsed after the signature of the Simla Agreement. Based on this, they are not submitting complaints anymore to the mission. Given that there is still a mandate from the Security Council to supervise the ceasefire, but given the two different positions of the two parties, Pakistan and India, the position of the Secretary General has always been that for any change to happen to the mandate of UNMOGIP, whether it's to enhance, increase the mandate, or whether it's to terminate the mission, you need a decision from the Security Council, because the two parties have different positions on that. But since then, since the different positions of the two countries, the Security Council has not taken a position on this. So the mission continues to conduct its work in the given conditions, which are, as I explained, the different positions of the two countries. The mandate, again, is clear, is supervising the ceasefire. The mission, to its best capacities, continue to do that. Every time a complaint is submitted, right now it's only by Pakistan, they always conduct their work, they always conduct the investigations, and they always share the findings with the two parties. But again, given that the Security Council has not changed in a way or another the mandate of the mission continues to conduct its activities based on the mandate that it's given to it. So this is the situation with respect to the mission. But the work is still ongoing, and the investigations are always shared with both parties, with the militaries of both parties. Again, maybe it's the way to jump to you. The mandate of the mission remains limited to the supervision of the ceasefire. So I cannot express anything related to more the political dialogue that you raised, maybe on this.
Just a question for you.
Yes.
So, violation of the ceasefire, does they report that?
They report to both parties.
And you also? To UN also?
To the Secretary General,
yeah,
yes.
they report
yes,
that. The
it's
violation
reported to
takes place.
Yes.
And the damages that cause, they also report that.
Yes.
The property and life damages,
Yes,
they all report that.
based on the investigations that they conduct, they have a pretty clear way to conduct investigations. in cooperation with both parties, or the parties at least if they want to cooperate, and taking witnesses' statements, collecting physical evidence of any cases to come out to their conclusions.
You must be aware quite a few violations of ceasefire going on right now. In 2-3 months back, there were a lot of violations. So that is our concern, because basically our life, people of our area, their life and property get damaged with that. So that is the main issue.
Yeah, I completely understand.
And it's just putting it just to the two countries. I think UN should little bit have to put forward with something on that. Obviously, because it is causing a lot of damage to us.
I hear you, but the peacekeeping mission
Mandate is limited.
is given like this. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yes, in terms of from the political perspective, the UN has always been worried about the situation between Pakistan and India, because both countries are nuclear power, have nuclear weapons, and in the past the two countries already fought three wars, and so the potential is we understand the seriousness of the problem, but you see, the problem is now for facing the UN is one of the countries, India, doesn't want to engage either with UN or with Pakistan. As you can recall, like 1 month ago during the General Assembly, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Prime Minister Sharif, proposed a 4-point, nuclear the initiative, peace initiative, but the next day, the Foreign Minister of India, rejected. Basically, she said, for India, they only need 1 point, not 4 points, which is counterterrorism. But for India, I think for Pakistan, I think they have much more concerns. Basically, you said, Kashmir need to be addressed. So it's more, I think there are some difference between two countries in terms of priority. For Pakistan, maybe you have terrorism, you also have Kashmir, you have other things to be addressed. And for India, they said, oh, okay, if you want to talk to us, you have to deal with the terrorism threat first. So I think maybe for UN, I think of course, at the highest level, the Secretary General of the United Nations knows everything. In his talks with the leaders of Pakistan, with leaders of India, he will always stress the need for the two countries to come together to negotiate. But it's up to now. I think it's up to the two countries, the leaders, to maybe to do something between themselves before come to the United Nations. I don't know how that can be addressed, but for us, the Secretary General has always said, his clear offices is available as long as the two countries request, as long as the two countries agree. If the two countries agree, the United Nations can provide assistance in terms of, I think perhaps some confidence building measures between the two countries, maybe from the local level, like Kashmir people between the two sides, people can exchange, have some exchange of, the visitors
and trade also.
Yeah, entry, yes. Maybe from the local level, then you start, working together with each other. Maybe from bottom up, then the United Nations can do something to help the two countries. Of course, from last year, the international community has high expectations for the two countries, because after the election of the new Prime Minister Modi became the Prime Minister, President Sharif actually visited India, and actually the two countries has planned at least 2 meetings. Both were cancelled at the last minute because of difference on Kashmir and the participation and the agenda of the meetings. So for United Nations, we see some potential for the two countries to engage each other, but of course there's some major obstacles for the two countries, two parties need to engage each other first before we can help you guys to help each other. So we have some for United Nations, we face some dilemma. We stand ready to help, but we don't know how to actually provide the substantive, support if one party like India doesn't engage with Pakistan or with the United Nations. So that's our the dilemma we're facing. So the United Nations always stand ready to help. That's our position. The Secretary General said, his good office is always available if the parties requested his assistance.
But the problem lies there, and it's a complete deadlock.
Yes, that's
We
understand.
there was some movement back, but nowadays it's complete deadlock.
Yes.
And
yeah.
as far as Kashmir is concerned, we have got the divided families also, as you must be knowing. So it's a great concern for Kashmir, and we think that UN has to play a role because we are on your agenda also, Kashmir especially. So you have to break the deadlock.
Yeah, the issue has been on agenda for since 1950s, 40s,
Right.
but you're also aware since 1972, 71 that the case has not been taken up by Security Council. That's why the issue is being basically impassive for 40 years because if Security Council doesn't take up this issue, the Security Council, the Secretary General has not too much can do because this issue first of all is the security, it concerns peace and security of the region. So the Security Council need to take some action. That's the first first line of order. If the Security Council mandate give broad mandate to the mission, to the Secretary General, we can Secretariat we can pick up some additional work to facilitate the resolution of this issue.
And if I may, as you mentioned about the different developments, events, incidents taking place on the ground, the mission is, while being deployed all along the line of control, investigates complaints, but also receives petitions from different groups and from different communities, and those are always forwarded up to headquarters and going up to the Secretary General. So, as my colleague said, the information is here and everything comes up. But again, as United Nations, we are limited to the tasks and mandate given to us, either, as my colleague said, if the two countries request the support of the UN, or if the Security Council gives us the mandate or something. But as it stands right now, we remain limited to this. But as long for the mission, at least, it has the mandate and it continues to do the work for the last 60 years.
Then what's the way forward then? Just wait and see when the two countries start talking?
I mean, I don't know, political
that's
the question.
It means
That's
we have to,
one question for us.
we have to wait until the India not agree to talk on the issue. It means the UN will be helpless. It means we understand.
But that's a fact. You see,
We are the sufferers basically.
Yeah, well, what suffering is for-
because we have divided families, we have our relatives there on the other side, they are suffering.
yes.
So we just
both sides.
at least you can send some rapporteur there and just to what the human rights violations are going on, you should register that even. So there's a pressure there for.
You're aware on the other bodies that exist within the UN system where human rights violation complaints can be